The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program, and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm CJ.
I'm Carlos.
Today is a very somber week and day for the city of Fall River on the passing of Hannah Raposo, otherwise known as Ropo to my neighbor friends. Spindle City Straight Talk has made it a habit of always calling out great people after their untimely passing, and I thought this was very appropriate for us to give her a fitting tribute at the beginning of our show. The pictures that were in that video came from her Facebook page, and one of them in there, people may ask, why is that there? And it said, "Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light." That was Hannah's Facebook page cover photo, and it spoke volumes of this woman. She was recently named Youth of the Year by the Boys and Girls Club of Fall River. And, you know, we see this happen over and over again in our community. This is the second passing of a young person in our city that have made changes to our city. And the sad thing is that the graduation will be a somber one for the class of 2016 of Durfee High School. Hannah was supposed to come to Bristol Community College in the fall, and I know that the Bristol Community College community, at the beginning of their commencement on Saturday, held a special moment for her in her memory. This is just something that is beyond imaginable, and my condolences and my heartfelt sympathies go out to the Raposo family, to Commissioner Michael Mayoza, former city councilor, and his wife and family, Joni Ledger, and all the friends of Hannah Raposo. This was a tragic, tragic accident and a tragic situation, and it's very difficult for people to get past it.
I make my words yours. Really a sad time for the city when we lost one of our kids, and my daughter met her, and she's on Durfee. She spoke to her a couple of days before this accident, and so my daughter is very, worried with just like all the other kids on Durfee, and I found my wife crying a couple of times this week, and because we are parents with kids at the same age, and we cannot imagine what the situation that the whole family is going through. And very early on Saturday morning, I seeing some posts addressed to Mike Mioza, and I was curious to find out what was the relative. And I came to find out that it was his granddaughter. So it's really a sad day for the entire city, for sure.
Carlos, it's you know, it truly is. And when I first got news of this on Friday, I had actually driven past the extrication team along the highway, and I did not know who it was, and I did not know that it was a youth. And when I found out who it was, the first thing that popped into my mind, and I posted it all over Facebook and all over South Coast Media and Spindle City Straight Talk's pages, Abigail Van Buren, also known as Dear Abby, a column she ran in August 25th, 1985, or August 26th, 1985, called Please God, I'm Only 17. And it was a column written from the point of view of the victim of a car accident and the entire process. And we don't know what happened. We may never know what happened. But I can tell you what I have seen, what I have felt. And I see it every day, and I saw it today. And it just irritated me to no end. I see it stoplights. I see driving along. I see people texting away on their phones, trying to dial phone numbers, you know, trying to grab things out of a bag, trying to get their coffee, putting their coffee in one hand and trying to put their lipstick on in another, or dial a phone number in another. How can you drive like that? How can you drive like that? That's called distracted driving. When you go to text, you take your eyes off the road from anywhere from 3 to 7 seconds, and your vehicle can move anywhere from 10 to 15 feet in either direction. If the car in front of you steps on the brakes fast, you don't have enough time to stop. Remember, whether you are a kid or an adult who just can't seem to put down your cell phone or can't seem to keep your eyes on the road, stop. Stop. The life you save may be your own. Mm-hmm. The pain you'll end may be that of your family or friends. And God forbid, what if you should kill someone? What if you should maim or cripple someone? You'll never live it down. You'll never be able to forgive yourself. So next time, think, is that text really that important? Is that phone call really that important? Is that coffee really that important? I really wish that the law would allow us to just, you know, take a paintball and throw it at a car or something. So just to say, hey, wake up. I was driving down 195. This woman had to be moving at 65, 70 miles an hour. And she's texting on her phone like this in front of her. How can you see the road? And she was weaving. I'm blowing the horn and she's not paying attention because she knows she's wrong. And then finally she looks over at me and I grabbed my phone and went like this with it. And she's like, you don't need the phone. You don't need the phone. You're going to kill me or somebody else. And I'm not saying that's what happened to Hannah.
And a lot of times when you try to let them know they're doing something wrong,
Yeah,
you know, either you got the finger or you got the, you know.
And again, we're not saying that this is what happened in Hannah's case. But this should be a reminder to every one of our high school seniors, every child, because you're still children, who's driving. Please, God, I'm only 17. Please look that column up. It's still available on the Chicago Tribune archives. And I'll tell you, it is, when I first read it, I think I was 18 or 19, and I gave that to my children to read. And I told my daughter, make sure she gives it to hers, because my granddaughter is about to be a driver. I'm getting old, Carlos. And it's scary when you think about it. You know, I just got a message from somebody asking, what was that message at the end of the memorial video? And I'll read it here. Luckily, I typed it. I have only slipped away into the next room. I am I, and you are you. Whatever we were to each other, that we still are. Call me by my familiar name. Her familiar name was Ropo to a lot of people. Speak to me in the easy way which you always used. Play, smile, think of me. All is well. That's a quote from Henry Scott Holland. And I thought it was very appropriate because this is a girl that really touched a million lives. She was a bright and shining star. And again, the candlelight vigil is tonight, Monday, June 6th, 7:30 p.m. at the Boys and Girls Club of Fall River. That's at 803 Bedford Street. It starts at 7:30. Candles will be available upon your arrival. They are asking for everyone to please park at the Fonska Elementary School parking lot, as there is no parking at the club and there's no parking on Bedford Street around there. So it's going to be very difficult. So please, if you're going to go, please be sure to park over at the Fonska and walk a block and a half over to the Boys and Girls Club. Visiting and calling hours are tomorrow at the Eau Claire Funeral Home at 690 South Main Street in Fall River from 1 in the afternoon until 8 p.m. And I know the family is going to be well beside themselves. And I'm sure there will be an outpouring of support and sympathy for this family. And as I said when I closed out that memorial video, may God grant you peace, Hannah.
Yes, indeed, and it's very sad. I just hope that we still don't know what was the fact of the accident, and you know, right now it's just rumors. Nobody knows really what happened. But I just hope that the family comes together and the community behind them and supports and we move on, because it's sad, and I hope the friends from school really this would be an open eye for them.
I hope so too. I hope so too. And as I said, please God, I'm only 17. It's tough. Now let's see if we can get onto a little bit lighter news. I found over the weekend an interesting ad. It popped up on Facebook. Somebody had posted it to South Coast Housing Real Estate Sales by Owner, which I found very interesting because here it is. 8-bedroom, Durfee High School for sale, Fall River, Massachusetts. After much deliberation, the Fall River School Committee has made the tough choice to sell Durfee High School. In the interest of full disclosure, we want to warn any potential buyers that nothing in this school works correctly. Also, we'll be honest with you. At this point, we'll take anything we can get for this school. We're absolutely and completely broke, and we got bills at the end of the month. Here is the product description and what is included in the sale. Leaky ceiling, windows, and indoor puddles. Carpets that literally cause cancer. Floors with giant fingerprints. Lots of VCR machines. Windows that don't open. Horde of smokers all around you. Classrooms with no ceilings. Awesome fist fights. Terrible football team. The worst budget cuts you can possibly imagine. And my personal favorite, the in-class sauna experience. Absolutely guaranteed to make you sweat like an administrator with a pink slip and make your ass swampier than the wetlands that this school was built on. Disclaimer, sauna experience cannot be shut off unless you fix the air conditioning. Located at 363 Ellsbury Street. Open house dates are Friday, 6/2016, Monday, 6/6/2016, and Wednesday, 6/8/2016. Furnished house, no laundry on site, and off-street parking. This ad was up for probably 2 days, 3 days, and then Craigslist finally took it down. But I found it amazing that the students got so fed up that they posted the school for sale. I think that says something to the school department, the school committee, and Meg Mayo Brown. I mean, you have to admit, it is funny.
And the question really is, how much it's worth it? Let's face it. How much is really worth it?
I know. Hey, you know what? Maybe we can get it for $1,500. How much did you get the DeVault school for?
I got it for $5.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, but they'd offer all this.
Yeah, you got a lot to offer here. We'll have to make
they'd
it 6.
offer all this, so you have to add all this into the list. So.
Yeah, well, I got to start deducting the cost for the windows that don't open. You have to admit it's funny, but
Yes, yes.
you know,
but it's a wake-up call.
Yes,
you
it
know,
is.
I
It
mean,
is.
if the city gets this building back, just like the other schools that got closed, and we got the maximum we got was like an offer of $20,000 for a building that's worth it, you know,
Right.
at least $500,000. So how much really this will be worth it?
well, I think it's going to be a great low-income housing project if somebody buys it.
Exactly. I mean,
You have to admit, because that's what they're going to do with it. You can't do much more with it.
This is that's a tough situation because they did put a lot of money into that field.
Yeah.
That field has a lot of money into it. It's worth it more than the school right now.
I know.
You know?
I know.
It's worth it more than school. So what we really do with all that space?
Hey, maybe we can make a rodeo zone. Just take the whole building down and make it an open space for carnivals.
Hey, I heard that some people were like to put the Durfee at the Harbor Mall.
Hey,
We heard about that a year ago. That will be the perfect place to put the new Durfee because of the easy access to the highways,
Right.
and taking another 4,000 cars out of this area,
Right,
which
because-
is plenty of. It's a nightmare for the residents.
Oh, yeah.
On this area, having all these 4 schools coming out at the same time, the traffic it's
terrible.
crazy.
Ellsbury, Ellsbury Street at 2 o'clock, you know, I might as well be in downtown traffic at 8 a.m. because it's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's interesting.
But I have to say that now that majority of the schools or the good schools are sold and knocked it down, now the school committee is coming around and say, you know, we should probably save that school, and because they're coming to realize that these big schools are way too many kids per class, and it will never be a neighborhood school,
You know, but
like
Carlos-
those small schools.
Right. Carlos, the problem is this. The city looked at what was then considered to be a good form of a school, the larger megalithic schools, whether it be at the elementary level or even at the Durfee level. And they said, oh, well, they're doing it on the West Coast, and this is great. And the West Coast had already been doing it for about 7 or 8 years. And they were coming to the end of the period where they decide whether or not they work. Well, they determined, amazingly, that they were ineffective, that they could not produce students that were functioning or able to test out at a high standard, at a high level. They were suffering in their educational process. But Fall River said, oh no, they're doing it out on the West Coast, so we're gonna do it here. So we did it with Durfee first, and that failed miserably on day one. On day one, it failed miserably. Then we went to the elementary schools. And again, we're failing miserably. And the problem is that by the time the city gets on board, they start spending the money to redesign all these schools. Then the reports come out and say, it sucks, you can't do it. The city goes, well, we've already spent money on doing it, so we're just going to do it anyways. Even though they know, that it's not going to work, that it's going to be ineffective, that it's going to provide poor education to our children, they're still going to do it.
Yes, and top of it, and top of all the big number of kids per classroom and per school, we have the nightmare of the neighborhoods, because every single new school, it's inside of a neighborhood, and the neighborhoods, you know, doing kids getting into school and getting out of school, it's a nightmare. The neighbors have to control their agendas around the pickup time from school, from the kids are releasing school. But I can tell you this: all these new schools, 30 years down the road, is going to become this.
Oh, no question about it. No question
Every
about it.
new school that costs taxpayers millions of dollars, it's going to, in 30 years, we're going to have this problem with every single new school.
Well,
But
Durfee's
on the
on
other
board.
side, the old schools that survived, like the Vol School, they were going to be there for 30 years, And 30 years from now, they will be looking into, they will be a good school for another 100 years to come.
Right.
Because we don't build schools like that anymore.
No, we don't.
And it was a shame that very good schools got knocked down.
I agree.
You know?
And the thing is, Durfee's only 40 years old, okay? And it's already a pit.
Oh, the new school's already leaking in.
Yeah.
You know, you go to some of these schools, they have buckets all over the place because it's already leaking in.
I know.
So that's, you remember when the Durfee opened back then?
Yeah, the first day there was problems. But you know, the problem is this. It's because we bid out to the low bid contractor, okay, who doesn't guarantee his work because, hey, it's not their money, it's taxpayer money, who cares? And this is the problem. They want to do it for their own home, but they don't care because that's their money. But they'll do it with the taxpayer money. So it's sad.
If they spend it to just to bring up to codes an old school for $1 million, I bet was, you know, money very well spent. And for a lot of generations to come, that school is going to be standing up.
I agree. I agree.
But
well, you know, on Friday.
What we know.
Yeah, we don't know anything. We've only been right
we know
every
nothing.
single time. So
remember that we know nothing.
What do we care? Because you know nobody listens to us. Nobody watches our show. So, as we know, the mayor hired his new chief of staff last week, Sergeant Michael Hoare, and retired. And again, Michael Hoare was an excellent police officer. He did a wonderful job. I thank him for his service there. But the retirement board in Fall River, I guess, is placing him on notice that they're not going to take it. He's got 960 hours, not 1 hour more. And according to what I've been able to research, and I may be wrong, once he hits 960 hours, he either has to suspend his pension or the city has to terminate him. Bottom line. I think what they did with his contract, and the contract to me is mind-boggling. He's getting paid $20,000 for 6 months. January 1st, he's getting $20,000 to take him till the end of June. And then he's getting $40,000 from July 1, 2017 to December 31, 2017, which happens to be the last day of the Carrera administration's run as mayor if he does not get reelected. So he's going to get $40,000 in the last 6 months of his job.
So that's January of next year?
He'll get $20,000 January of next year.
Okay.
Okay? Then he'll get $40,000 July 1 of next year.
Okay.
Okay? Which means he gets $60,000 for the entire calendar year. The retirement system is based on the calendar year, not on the fiscal year. So that's the reason why it was done. So the questions that remain are, number one, why would you do it this way, first and foremost? Secondly, $40,000 for 6 months' work? Because when January 1 rolls around, should the boy emperor get reelected, is he going to get paid another $20,000?
But who put that contract together?
The mayor.
The mayor did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was probably drafted by corporate counsel and whatnot.
Exactly, yes.
But the mayor agreed to these terms that Michael Hoare probably dictated. We don't know. We don't know where the negotiations are. That's privy information. But again, you got to look at the fact that, again, we're going to pay somebody a full-time salary for part-time work. And the 960 hours are very clear-cut. And, you know, the question came up to me today from someone who asked, well, Joe Macy's been working there. How come nobody said anything about that? Why is the Fall River Retirement Board doing something about it? Because the Fall River Retirement Board does not control Joe Macy's retirement. That's governed by another retirement board. And complaints were registered with PERAC last year. So far, nothing's happened with those.
But I remember during the campaign, Samsara and Korea, that came up to conversation. And remember that he said that you were going to be donating sometime?
Right.
So until today, we don't know if he's getting paid for everything or if he's still volunteering some hours. So I don't know how that's going to play too.
Under Mass General Law 32B, you can't volunteer hours. Okay? You are either on salary or you're not. You can't. If you hit 960, you're terminated.
Okay.
Or you suspend your pension. Now, according to records, which are public, by the way, Michael Hoar's pension is $78,000. With another 40, puts him up to $118,000. Not a bad chunk of change. Not a bad chunk of change. So, and this is why I'm a firm believer in that no, zip, zero, zilch, no one who has served in an elected, appointed, or other position that has worked for any municipal, county, or state office shall engage in employment with any county, state, or municipal office for a period not less than 5 years after leaving that employment. And then they go, oh, you can't do that. People need to earn a living. Hey, there's other jobs. Because this is what happens. You had Joan Menard, who stepped down as a senator, and she came over to Bristol Community College, and she earned a six-figure salary at what we consider a do-nothing job. And again, my opinion, do-nothing job for 4 years, and knocked her pension up a little bit. And then she retired, and amazingly, a relative got that job.
On this thing of Mike, Sergeant Mike, I think that he came in with the good intentions.
I believe
because he had really good intentions. He said, I know I can do the job. I'm working with the community for many years. I would love to keep working with the community for minimum pay that they agreed of $40,000 a year. But on the other side too, because of his position and because of his amounts that he's going to collect, that's what's going to put him in a bad position. So he's doing a good thing to the community, but this can come around and kind of, hit him on the back.
I understand that, and Michael did say that in his press conference that he's served the community for many years, and I agree, he has served the community for many years. But the problem is that this mayor, then city councilor, called out the sitting mayor for doing the same thing. And this is why we say this mayor is duplicitous. He lies and lies and lies. Everything is a lie. Everything. And now when we looked over the budget, we started finding that Mary Sahadi's probably going to get hired in the next fiscal year to do a job that she already admitted under oath that they never did. So, I mean, how much more are we going to take? How many more beatings are we going to take before we realize you just can't do that anymore? You just really can't. And this is the problem.
And a lot of things, it's like repeating. A lot of things are coming back, and something that was said before, now we come, and we are on the same position again. And I guess the mayor's, it's all on the mayor's plate. But if I had done different, probably I will do it different. But he's there, so he's going to have to defend himself when election comes. And believe me, that's right around the corner.
I agree. And
some people are happy with that. Some people is not.
Right. So the people are asking, where's Chip? Chip is away on retirement board business. He'll be back on Friday. So the show's going to continue on as usual. But the thing that gets me is that the mayor's already saying this contract's going to go through. This contract's going to go through for privatization. Watch the show further, because guess what? On Wednesday, they're going back to the Labor Relations Board, and we know the city's never won a Labor Relations Board.
And the budget, I think, is going to be a huge problem, because
a huge one.
City Council last year passed it by this much.
Right.
They just passed it by this much, so they didn't go to 112.
Right.
But this year, I think they're gonna be thinking about passing.
They keep using
that fast.
They keep using the threat. We have to do it. We have to do it. We can't do it otherwise. Well, guess what? Say no to the budget, city councilors. Hey, thanks for watching. Mike, Raposo family, we're sorry for your loss. Have a great day.
Thank you.